far for some trees, so let's get personal. I got a lot of cool spots there we can go. Tell me what you want and I got you. I'm only acting like this cause I like you. Just give me the right to slide in. Oh, mine, make your mind by the night. Send me your location and focus on communicating. I don't need nothing else but you. Come on, you send me your location and the vibration. So won't you send me your location and the vibration and trees on kachwa ngana zo kachwa bena kumanga ngana zo kachwa mama on baby sans que je voudrais je serai comme comme ce matin qu'importe les ombrellos yeah on baby donne toute mon affection je t'aime sans me retenir ma place est auprès de toi. Ngana zo kachwa mama, ngana zo kachwa mama. Take me by the end, show me the way I can go on. Take me by the end, show me the way. Take me by the end.
No, we're starting to speak here. It's going to give feedback.
Right, a huge round of applause for the band Adore. Yes, beautiful sounds, beautiful voices. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing this afternoon? We're good? Yeah? I think so too. I mean, apart from the weather really messing us up and making sure we start late, I am very glad that we are all here, yeah? I would clap for you, but I will after this, yeah? Look for me, yeah? And of course, a huge round of applause for the first man that got here, Mr. Joseph Bayanga. Please clap for the man. Yes, of course, you are amazing yourselves for making it here. We are officially ready to start. It is a beautiful, beautiful Friday. Yes. And of course, we're kicking it off right here at the MCI Media Hub. And it is the MV Talks 3. Who's ready for those? Media viability, anyone? Yeah? Let me see some journalists say, yeah. I like that. I like that. Let me see some influencers say, what's up? That's exactly what I'm saying. So we have all of them here. We have the influencers. And of course, where is gig economy? I saw El Shaddai. Gig economy. He's already influencing as we are here. Please make sure you continue with the influencing. Yeah, make sure MV Talks is trending. We need to be #1. Let me see how good an influencing community you are. If I am not trending as MV Talks, the money. Yeah, the money. To Judge Sarako. It is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. We're officially ready to start. We'll not be starting with the anthems. Yeah, we did those before you came. Yes, next time will be early enough, so you'll be part of the anthems, yeah? But of course, I think the one thing we can't do without is a prayer. I am that committed to the Lord, and hope you are as well. Let's have a word of prayer, and I'll ask Hannah Arinetwe to come and give us a short prayer. Yeah!
Good evening, everybody. Let's humble ourselves for a prayer. Almighty God, we thank you so much for this time. We give you praise. We give you honor. We place each and every activity that is going to happen here into your hands. In the mightiest name of God I've prayed. Amen.
Short and precise, just how we like it, yes? Right about now, I want us to really move fast, so stay with me, yeah? I hope I don't lose you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me welcome Mr. Mpindi Abbas, the CEO Media Challenge Initiative, to officially welcome us here at the Hub. Round of applause for Mr. Mpindi Abbas.
Hello. How are you? Great. It gives me honor, pleasure to have you here at the MCI Media Hub. When we were starting these MV Talks, we were really looking at the media industry and how it's affected. Reason being, we work with young journalists, we want employment for them, and if the media industry is not doing well, it means that even the young journalists that we train do not have opportunities or employment. So we started to create a space where we can talk about media viability or sustainability. And we've had various conversations here, but this one in particular, we are looking at the influencer economy and the rise of what we call a journalist influencer. And the questions we've been battling with, and I think we have a very good set of panels that will be able to talk about that. The questions that we've been battling with include, what's the place for a media house when you're competing with influencers on, and Joseph is laughing, influencers on TikTok and other platforms? How about journalists who are influencers, right? How about journalists who are influencers but also competing with media houses for the same advertisement market? Could media houses potentially work with, or they are already working with their own journalists to raise money through their numbers? And the other thing is the ethical discussion on, should journalists even be influencers? And that's also a discussion we want to have today. So if you look at the content space, can someone stop these people? I'm getting scared. If you look at the content space, each and every person is becoming a content creator in one way or another. There is one for sex workers, if you didn't know. Is it My Fans or Only Fans? OnlyFans. There's one for podcasters, there's one for journalists now, Substack, and writers. So each and every day, there's someone innovating a space for any type of content being created. And the routine is the same. Create very good content and charge for it. And today I'm hoping that we really get to discuss all these questions, but most importantly, see where the opportunities are for young journalists and young people, and see how to, because there are people that I've seen grow from young journalists now, big influencers and making money, and some are not even influencers, some are mega influencers. So they command different levels of budgets compared to some of us. So after the panel session, we'll then have some workshops. So we'll hope that you can move to the different rooms and hear from those who are doing it and how they are doing it. So, with those few remarks, please once again welcome here and feel at home, and let's share a network, right? All right, back to you, Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you. We can do better than that. A big round of applause for Mr. Mpindi Abbas. We have an online audience that is right there, keeping up with the MV3 talks. It is online, and we definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please go ahead. Your comments are much appreciated, and of course, we'll be reading some of them. Your questions, your comments, keep them coming. We do appreciate that. We also have, yes, our own in-studios that will be joining me. Uncle Mo is in studios, and of course, that is MCR Radio Studios, together with Miss Bella Twine and the one and only Mr. Roland Viagawa. Yes, Uncle Mo, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Some coffee, Banangi.
First of all, I don't know why radio should have live video coverage. I think that's just too much pressure for now. What do I know? I'm very, very excited to be hosting some very two cool people. I'm glad to know them. I don't know if everyone there knows them. Before I even dive into what we want to talk about, I want to first introduce.
Yes.
I'll start with Bella.
Thank you so much.
So you first of all, who's Bella and what do you do?
So Bella is a fact checker with the Bank Media Initiative. I am an Africa Check Fellow, and also I do content, and I'm also a voice-over artist.
Check Fellow.
Africa Check.
You guys will check if people are saying the truth.
Yes.
I remember you reached out to me sometime, you're like, Uncle Mo, you lied. I was like, I don't tell lies.
Yeah, we had to fact check you.
You'll never forget that phone call. I won't tell people because I don't want to embarrass myself. But somewhere I was told that I didn't check my facts. Yeah, so how does someone become a Check Fellow?
So you just have to go through the basics of knowing how to share factual information, knowing where it comes from, mostly what impact it has created in the media or social media or in communities. If people are continuously sharing it, then you have to be able to go back to the basics of, okay, how do I make sure that people understand that this is fake or that it is inaccurate or exaggerated and the like.
Now I want to cross over to Roland. First of all, tell us about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Hello. Roland Biagava. This is the person. What do I do right now? I am moonlighting as an actor.
Nice.
But more seriously, I think I'm into business. I'm trying to build a content platform and do some IT things on the side.
Let me first start with the acting part. So don't you get like stereotyped all the time? Like they have to get you roles where they need a bold guy. I don't know. You're my guy. Yes.
This was my first role, so I can't say there's a trend yet. But my bold was perfect for this role because they needed me to be older than I am, and I think I pulled it off just perfectly. So yeah. But I think for sure the stereotypes will fit because. What to do? Yeah, because some of us. But makeup is fire. Makeup can do very things.
Amazing things. Now, diving into the reason why we are here. First of all, this is Media Viability Talk Season 3, everybody. Where do I even go on this panel just to have someone clap for me in the audience? Media Viability Talks Season 3. I'm excited that I've been around for this whole journey. We've come a long way establishing that every society is as good as the information it consumes. And we have come to understand that information has to reach us somehow, and so there's going to be players. Then these people are going to make sure we do the things we do, dress up the way we dress, speak the way we speak, to the point of now that they've given us this information, now they're going to make money. Do they need teams to get this stuff done? We've had amazing stories. I've been excited to host so many of those guys who have come on this Media Viability Talks, but quickly firing to still ladies first. Tell me, who has been your most awesome guest we had on the MV Talks? And just a little recap. How was the experience for you, and who was your most interesting guest?
I think for me it was Lukman Ali, and at the time I just watched the movie about the dates and how Martha K was kidnapped somehow.
Oh yeah, the short film.
Yeah. So I just watched that, and also I was looking forward to watching The Girl in a Yellow Jumper, I think.
I watched that as well.
I wanted to see the man behind this incredible storytelling. And also there's an advert I think he did for Roofings. So it was like, I was just waiting to see how this mind operates or functions. Like, can I just have a piece of that?
The thing about, and he's a very good friend of mine, the thing about Lukman Ali, it's all in his mind. He is very, very quiet. On the outside, you can't believe that there are supersonic cars moving on in his head. He's an amazing creative. And how has been the experience for you? Overview of the MV Talks.
Yeah, so I just like the fact that these media viability talks give a platform for not just journalists or content creators, but also people who want to get into the space of, journalism, content creation, and media at large. So it's one of those things that you don't just find anywhere in Uganda. It's one of those things that just happen only in this space, in the MCI Media Hub. So I'm just grateful because you get to hear amazing people speak, you get to listen to their stories, how they started, because most times we just listen to probably what they have to offer in terms of content, but we don't know their story of
what they are now.
How did I get there? Because everyone needs that story. While they're stuck and thinking, I don't think I can make it to that point. But surely they can. Yeah.
Awesome. Roland.
Yes, please.
I've been around here with you all the seasons. Tell me, how has been the experience for you? Recap for me, MV Talks till today.
Okay, so yes, like you said, we have been here from the word go last year, and I think it's been to see that we are now on the 5th MV Talk is testament of the hard work that has been gone into making this happen. For me, I think the timing couldn't have been better. We're coming out of COVID, but even before COVID, media houses were struggling with how to survive. Layoffs were already happening, so we can't say it was just COVID. Things were already bad. So the timing was perfect. I think we have had some very, very important conversations. From very many different players across the media spectrum. I just wish more people could listen into these conversations, because there's so much wonderful knowledge and insights from people who have been in the field. I wish more people could.
And who was your biggest guest on these talks so far? Okay, not biggest, but most interesting for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because now,
because size, we might start talking about other things.
So I think for me, I really like Dr. Innocent Nahabwe, who runs Galaxy XFM. I have been a very keen follower of his journey about his book, and he has been. If you want to know entrepreneurs in Kampala who have done all kinds of hustles, that is one of the men. And I think what I liked the most about him is how straight to the point it was. He was not trying to sugarcoat things, optimism. And so I really liked his submissions.
I have a situation on my end that my most interesting guys, the things that I remember about them, they're the things they were saying during the interludes. Like, you know that moment you're talking to your guests, like, by the way, yeah, man. So I can't even explain.
Do you want to share?
I can't, because I have to speak to them first. So one of them, I think, is Owino.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and the other is Malinga. the things we spoke off the microphone is another season of MV Talks. I'll make sure they come back and we discuss those
Whoever
things.
is managing the cameras, don't switch them off.
Never switch them because I make sure I keep asking some spicy things off the microphone. But now that we get there, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't have so much time, I want to dive into much more with these guys because I know how much they can have to share. We've had a long journey discussing things, media viability. But now I want to come back to the studio. I want to introduce to you this guy. Every time, huh? You want to tell me something? No, hello, can you hear me in the studio? The main stage?
Yes, we can, Uncle Mo.
Awesome,
and I have a question.
Awesome.
I really do have a question.
I now want to dive right back there and introduce a friend of mine. This guy, every time he asks me anything, I want to answer like the following day because I know that he's a celebrated, award-winning investigative journalist. So
Yes.
I don't want to say things that will incriminate me. Ladies and gentlemen, very good friend of mine, Raymond Mujuni.
Yes, a huge round of applause for Mr. Raymond Mujuni.
Thank you so much, Uncle Mo. I think your time hit a snag today, but I hope that we can get this underway. Sorry, I have to get up. Nobody warned me about this. Good afternoon, guys. Guys, you've eaten lunch, haven't you? I know the economy is rough, but it can't have been that rough.
It's not that rough.
It honestly can't have been that rough. Thank you so much for coming today. I have a very small task here today, which is to get some very vibrant people to speak to us. And so I want my panelists to come up, and I think I'll introduce them one by one. I think it'll be career limiting if I introduce anyone before my boss, Mr. Joseph Beyanga, the head of radio at the Nation Media Group. Please, a round of applause for him as he makes his way to the front. Olivia Komjisha, who is a reporter at NTV Uganda. I now have a rather tough task between my boss and someone I supervise. It's going to be a really hard job. And then Ronald Suna, thank you if you can make digital strategist. And these are the people with the knowledge, please. So I'm going to try and pull that knowledge out of them one by one. And the conversation was really simple, as MCI asked us, which is the conversation around influencers and ethics for journalism, or influencing as a model of business for journalism. Joseph, I want to start with you rather keenly because I know you look at the bottom line of a media company's business every day, and I know this because sometimes we do it together. Media houses aren't making as much money as they made before. A lot of what we call the business model, which these young journalists want to come into, was built on advertising. And that advertising is go out there, be on TV, have thousands of people watch you, and because those thousands of people watch you, MTN gives you an advert, you use that advert to pay people's salaries. Now, the crisis is Raymond Mujuni now, with his Twitter account, nearly has the same eyeballs as NTV with their TV account. And that's created competition for money. And so every advertiser that I know, and this is something Ronald will speak to us as a strategist, every advertiser that I know has a budget for traditional media and a budget for digital media. And increasingly, the budget for digital media grows bigger, the budget for traditional media grows smaller. Have I framed the problem correctly?
I had to solve that problem first. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, guys. Hi, how are you? Hi. How are you? Oh, nice. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, MCI. Very tough question. Have you framed it correctly? I don't know if you can frame a problem wrongly because it doesn't change, whichever way you frame it. But the reality is, yes, we have new existing platforms. You know, people like calling it new media. We have new media. Has it come to eat the money for the traditional media guys? I don't say anybody has come to eat your food. If you prepare your food and you've secured it, you will eat it. There is enough food for everybody in the house. I would say that. The bigger picture is we have a new trend, we have a new platform that is growing, and it is demanding for some advertising. So just like back in the early days of media, most of the advertising revenue went to newspapers. Then came radio, then it went to radio. Then came TV, it went to TV. Now there's online, it goes to online. But it doesn't mean there are no newspapers making money. It doesn't mean the TV stopped making money. It doesn't mean. So what happens is when people have no options, everybody around will get something to eat. When people have options, they pick the best. So MTN will come after Raymond's account, will come for Uncle Mo's account, because they believe in what they are doing. So in whatever you are doing, whether you are traditional, whether you are new media, you just make sure, you always be sure the most credible platforms will always get the best. So it doesn't mean that the new kids who come around pick. No. There are so many guys actually with many followers, but who don't command as much as the small guys who are credible are commanding. So the credible platforms, the credible accounts, the credible media houses will still pick up their lunch. And the ones who have gone to sleep.
Yeah, I want to ask you very keenly because, I look at Uncle Mo's YouTube account and I see the adverts that he's running there, whether it's Stanbic Bank, whether it's a battery company. And I think to myself, this is money that we earned before, money that we aren't earning anymore. And that's a matter of fact. How do you address that? Do you say you develop new products that allow people like Uncle Mo space on the platform? In that case, you get all the money? Or you let them compete with you?
I am very comfortable for Uncle Mo, and I'm happy for him to earn what he's earning. If everybody does a good job, they deserve to be paid for it. I'll be very sad if Nation Media Group, KFM, NTV, Daily Monitor, they sleep, and actually the money slips away. So what we need to do is, we need to make sure what we are doing, we are good at what we are doing. If you offer your audiences value, they will give you, the advertisers will trust you. If I may just hint on it a bit, let's come to Uganda and terrain at the moment. Who are the biggest, what are the biggest accounts on social media, let's say online? The biggest website, local and all that, would be monitor.co.ug. The most followed Twitter account, apart from the president, is NTV, followed by Daily Monitor, NBS, New Vision, that way. They're still the most credible. They're still the biggest. The question is, why are they not cashing in the way Uncle Mo is cashing in? Uncle Mo, we are really not singing your praises, but we are using you as an example because you are around.
This money hit a snag.
So what happens is, why are the guys' individual accounts, why are they cashing in, and the mainstream media with their social media accounts, they are not cashing in as much as they are? One, Uncle Mo is relatable. When I'm talking about Uncle Mo, I'll see him in his overalls, though I'm disappointed, I see him dressed like some of us. And I see him chewing his nuts with the guys at the garage and all. I can touch it. I can touch him. He's relatable. He understands our hustle. So when he's talking about fuel prices and he's promoting one fuel company against for what it offers, I can understand it. But then a media house like NTV doesn't give me a mechanic. So if I'm a fuel or oil company, I'll go to Uncle Mo because he's a mechanic. He knows what he's talking about. I can relate with it. So the challenge for the mainstream media houses is, are we relatable? We are existing on those platforms, but are we there in a way that can be trusted by the consumers for the advertiser to put their money on us?
That's important. I now want to move to Olivia. And Olivia, before I ask you the question I want to ask you a very straightforward, simple question.
Sorry, do I earn a sip of water?
Yes, you earn it. You've worked hard. Olivia, do you make more money as an influencer than you do as a reporter for NTV Uganda?
Yes.
There is the crisis. There is the problem. I can't afford Olivia anymore in the newsroom. Do you feel like the newsroom is enabling your earning of money, the value that you give the newsroom, do you feel that you're getting that value back as a journalist?
Thank you very much. It's just uncomfortable that you first asked me whether I earn more money. I hope they don't cut my salary.
Don't worry, I will vouch for you.
You better protect me. Anyway, one thing for sure is there's so much that's at stake as a journalist influencer, yeah? But like I was talking to some of the people here earlier, being in the newsroom and being with a brand like NTV Nation Media Group, KFM, puts you at a higher advantage, yeah? Because if for anything, if people know me, they know me because of that brand, yeah? I didn't wake up one day and people, let's say on Twitter, the 37.7 followers who follow me because I am Olivia. No, they follow me because they have probably watched what I have done. I have been probably tweeting work or sharing work that is tagged with NTV, yeah? So the value, it's a 50-50, yeah? Because I get and they also get. It's a win-win. We share the value, yeah. But saying that, do I get that value? It's, I'd say like 60% I give into NTV, and 40% I literally have to squeeze it out of NTV to get the value that I need out of them.
There's been an argument made by journalists, and I think I take some blame for starting this, which is that many other people have appeared on the same platforms that we've appeared on, and they don't enjoy the same amount of influence on social media that I do. So it's very likely you gave me the platform, but it's also likely that my talent on the platform commanded the influence that I have, so I can get money from that kind of audience. Is that an argument that's sound? Is that an argument you take to the news manager and say, this is why I insist on running influence on my own account?
I mean, I've been in that office, my boss's office, on a few occasions. First of all, because of the brands that I'm pushing, that I'm influencing for, because apparently they don't align with the brand that is NMG. But then I'm like, if let's say I'm influencing for a beer company, these beer companies sponsor some of the shows on this TV. So what do you mean that they don't align with the brand that you are? And I've always been clear, and I think, I don't want to say the bad influence that you are. Every time you landed in trouble, you always said that my social media is not NTV, it's my social media. I built it from scratch to get where it is. NTV might have given me a platform, but some people have decided not to take advantage of the platform. We have people in the newsroom who don't have these followings on social media. So for me, it's like, allow me run my platform the way I wish, because this is my platform and I get to do what I want on this platform, as long as I don't go against your social media policy. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Raymond. I just wanted to interject.
You want to reduce her salary?
No. I'm actually very happy for her that she's earning more than her daytime job gives her. If I may just interject on something to give context. One, I think your platform and Olivia's platform is trusted, has so much influence because of the old school ethics you picked from what we call old school journalism. You are there because everything you put out is credible. If somebody hears something is happening, they will check on Raymond's account because of what? Because, and I don't want to use the media house that you're attached to, because of the grounding you got from the good principles of journalism, you are able to put out credible information that can be trusted. And even when it's really you are hitting somebody hard, you are still fair. You look out for accuracy. It's balanced, so it can be trusted. That's the trust that the old media houses built their name and reputation on. And that's why you are able to leverage what you leverage. And on the bit of earning more than your daytime job pays you, I normally tell my guys on radio, look, radio gives you a chance to showcase who you are. go out and cash in.
Ah, okay. We are going to go out and cash in. Pfizer, have you noted that? Please keep this bite. We'll need it in the future. I want to come to you sooner, Ronald. And for you, it's two-way, because I know that you've worked with news houses before, but also that you're a digital strategist.
That is correct.
One of the fundamentals when I go to both boardrooms, because I sit sometimes in digital boardrooms and in media boardrooms, one of the fundamentals is that the split between the platform, which is if Nation Media exists as a television station, they don't acknowledge that their Twitter platform exists as a platform on its own, capable of generating money on its own. And in that regard, on social media, they're different. What kind of history created that manner of advertising on digital in Uganda? Because it doesn't happen across the board in Kenya.
Yep. So, firstly, Uganda, of course, you don't excuse us. Sometimes we take some more years to, adopt to, the new currencies, the newer currency and trends in digital advertising.
Like they say.
As we discuss this, I think we've seen how broadcast media, especially, they created new products. Let's say we are giving you a live link. He does that at KFM. There's an event that is going on, and they cast like what you've just seen here. To a client, and they get excited, and they cash out of that. So those are different kind of product portfolios they've created. And now we've seen a rise of influencers like Olivia, like you. What does the media then do? Right now, the media houses should position themselves as also influencer network, like, companies, because media is diverse, you understand? So you're not just selling, let's say, on air only to a customer, or sorry, to a client like MTN. You asked a very important question: what happened when MTN could no longer, quote unquote, other companies bringing money to you? What initiatives did you bring? And we saw Nation Media, of course. I'm hailing it because it brought subscription models with Nation Media, and even in Uganda, from Kenya, and it was quite exciting to see different forms of revenue streams. You understand? And now the topic of today is influencers. So I think once you create your organization based on the fact that how can I grow these different portfolios, product portfolios, to make money, then you're creating structures that are going to enable also the journalists themselves to actually be able to comply, you understand? Because here, what we also want to step away from is, she expressed herself and she said, these are my own social media platforms. Why are you letting me, why are you not letting me express or, advertise on them? And it's a question of harmony. How do you create harmony with your staff, with your own journalists? You understand? Because number one, you have to have. Can you hear me? All right. What you need to understand. Hello. All right, we're back. So I was saying, what you have to understand, you have to create the harmony between the journalists or the media practitioners with the companies they're working for. At the end of the day, you all have shared advantage that you're going to win, you're going to make money. So if at all you don't create structures like, let's say, we are having a person who's in charge of influencer marketing, we're in charge of, let's say, a person who's going to be able to bring business to these journalists, then you're going to always find those political wars between, the staffs that are, being employed to cast news, but then they are also growing because they're leveraging on air platforms you're giving them. They're becoming more famous. So we've seen this trend really growing in digital all across Africa right now, and that's how other companies are positioning themselves. You understand? Whereby I know, like we have, let's say, a brewery company. We have a fintech company, we have different verticals of companies. But these companies, let's say, would have, let's say, annual events. And to me, as a media company, I know I have an asset, which is Raymond Mujuni. He's a good orator, he can host events. I've seen him host events personally. And how can I bring him and, engage and negotiate on his behalf as a sales agent? You understand? Literally, you're taking on the role as a sales agent to make sure that, one, not only are you creating more value for your clients, but also you bring revenue to Raymond as well as your company. So that's the harmony we want to see in the media henceforth. Yep.
And I want to ask you now a rather delicate question. I don't know how to ask it, but I just have to ask it. Undercutting the market. An NTV advert during the 9 p.m. news shot 50-second, 1-minute ad.
Yeah.
It's about 9 million shillings.
That's right.
The same Stanbic Bank that would pay 9 million shillings there wouldn't pay 9 million shillings to run the same ad on the Twitter account of NTV.
Yep.
So it puts the media houses in this tricky balance. Do we lose revenue that we normally earn and undercut and join this market where we're not going to make as much money to sustain the salaries of the people that we employ? How do you resolve that balance?
I think it's a question also for the FX, the people in finance, to see how they can really bring in more revenue and balances. However, the good thing about the question is that clients sometimes opt for different avenues which are more favorable for them. You understand? You're not going to say, okay, case scenario, you just said NTV, an ad spot will cost about 9 million. I'm from, let's say, I have a startup, and I just want to have, let's say, amplification on your brand. I want brand association, actually. If at all I see a post published by NTV, that's a good score, not only just to my company, but also to my investors. So that's money you're leaving out because you are only selling on air. You understand? I was in broadcast for about 2 years as at Capital FM as head of digital. And I saw that happening, that people could bring, people could want to advertise on air, but then they saw more value. Actually, there's a time one client, sorry, I'm not going to mention the name, but he told me, I want my advert to be in that video of Gaetano and Lucky because there was a lot of content we could create every morning, and these were very exciting shows. We really made the Facebook audience and Twitter audience fall in love with the brand. And this client was also one of the fans. I was like, I want maybe, let's say, a scroll, something to pass in that video that has, let's say, 2 million, because we could find ourselves, they could dance sometimes, and you could find talks, just normal talks, could hit about 10,000 views, and that's what the client wants. So you don't want to waste any single shilling, and I think this is how you also train and, upskill the finance teams, the sales teams. How do they also get equipped with skills on how to sell digital, not just only selling air? Yeah.
All right. Mr. B, now I'm going to come to you, and this is the subject that journalists
Is it okay to just supplement what he said before you shoot me the next one?
Okay, I'll give you a minute,
Thank you.
Then I come.
I would say the digital guys are not undercutting, or one is not refusing to give. One, you need to put into consideration the cost of putting out TV as a product. And then two, I mentioned it at the beginning, the budgets which are available for different sectors. At times you just need to share the piece of cake that is available and be content with that and work hard to grow it. So at the moment, the budgets for digital are small because, people start from one point and then they grow the levels of trust, credibility, and all that. So, and then let's be realistic. The cost of putting out a TV bulletin vis-a-vis a cost of putting up a tweet, really, yeah. So do cost-benefit analysis. You find you have more net income on social media than on TV.
That's great for the digital guys. Now I want us to talk as media house executives. Every morning you wake up, the people from Nairobi, wherever they call from, will be, we need this media house to stay alive because you're not going to be able to employ the Olivias for long if you don't have money. All these young gens who want to practice journalism can't come into a newsroom that doesn't have money. So it's also important to keep the media house alive. So how does the media house compete in this space with the brands it's creating? You're creating brands who are competing with you in the same space for digital revenue, and they're eating a great chunk of it.
It's very simple. Be ready to compete or go home. and this is what I mean. One, I've struggled. I hear at times in the boardroom, guys talking about, new media is our competition. I don't see it as competition. I see it as a complementary platform. You are already putting out content. What stops you from extending the same content? The next platform. And then this is because I've been around media for some time, I can say we. Then the mistake we made over the years, when social media is coming. So we picked everything the way we did it on radio and slapped it there without understanding how different platforms consume content. We just need to know how does social media consume content? How do the website consume content? Different users have different preferences. And then if you come to NTV Daily Monitor, what's the personality of the Daily Monitor Twitter handle?
Violence.
I wouldn't call it violence, because when people are coming to Raymond, they're coming to Faiza, they're coming to Olivia, they know the personality. And people connect with personalities, whether it's a human being or a robot. So what's the personality of your platforms? Now, if you are working out we need to think through those details to make sure our social media, our online platforms and all that have a personality which people can interact with, relate with, and then we will pick up that money. But if we stay saying, okay, we've done it in the newspaper, pick it, slap it on the website. Uncle Mo,
Mr. B, the other question that I want to ask you before I move to Olivia is the question of audience share. Now I sit at the current affairs of Nation Media. I worry about our audience share on everything. The combined bulletin for 9 p.m. news, if I look at the views on it, is what Natasha can get on her Instagram reel with just 3 seconds or 4 seconds. And she's using way less money to produce that content. I am throwing around a whole lot of money to produce the content that I give out at 9 p.m. How do we compete in terms of audience share and try and sort of balance out this audience?
One, remember, we need to start thinking that the shelf life of NTV at 9 does not start at 9 p.m. and end at 9:45. That content has a longer shelf life. We need to start getting that content after it has run on TV, repurpose it for other platforms. You go to BBC, they will do a story today, it's a big story, but then over the course of days and weeks, there will be short clips you find on Instagram, on TikTok.
Your edge is showing.
And that's how you get content, repurpose it. Make sure the content you put there, the people who are viewing, when they are gone, because not everybody is viewing your content. The other day when the president was, last night when you were roasting the amendment MP, I was watching football.
Even you, my friend.
Manu was looking for a win. But when I came in the morning, I picked clips which were on Twitter, and I got the gist of the conversation. I would pop in during the break and all that, but I was definitely, I spent more time watching football. When I miss football, catching up with the president talking about Ebola, I will go and watch the highlights on YouTube. So I think what we need to work on as media houses before we work ourselves into extinction is, one, what's the shelf life of our content? When we go out to produce content, are we thinking one direction? All thinking is 9 p.m. news, done. Neda. That is the beginning. After that, how do we, because when Olivia goes out in the field, she records more than 15 minutes of content, but she uses less than 2 minutes on air. Where does the other 13 minutes go? Was it useless? No. Was the story relevant? Yes. Then let's get that content. People will consume your content. The beautiful thing we have is we have a disadvantage of our old school analog platforms. They are so limiting. They will give you 1 hour to run your bulletin. Online doesn't limit you. We are limiting ourselves.
You're behaving like Tamale Mirundi now.
Oh, sorry.
Hitting your head. I think that's a brand attribute of him. Olivia, difficult question again for you.
But she's very brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of what we do is trust. We sell trust. When people see me anchoring the news bulletin, they believe that whatever I'm telling them is the truth. If I see Olivia sending out a Guinness ad at 8:30 p.m., and at 9 p.m., I am seeing a news story in which Guinness is doing CSR, I might have doubts about that news story. I might say, I think Olivia has influenced this story. Does that keep you up at night?
Why did you have to drag Guinness here?
Sorry for Guinness.
Anyway, yeah, but as a matter of fact, I influenced for Guinness, and I'm very proud. So that's okay for giving us a shout out here. Anyway,
Abbas, we are picking money.
It's okay. Anyway, so for me, one time my news manager called me in his office, and that's exactly what he asked me. He's like, though his question was a bit different, he asked that today you're influencing for Guinness, and it's very hard for people to detach Olivia from NTV. Tomorrow, if let's say there are counterfeit products on the market, and we assign you to do that story, are you going to do that story? Of course not. So he's like, why are you saying no? Because you have a role to play in the newsroom, and you're supposed to deliver on this story. And I do not understand the kind of contract you have with these people. But for me, one thing I learned, I think, because when I started influencing, and I think I started here at Media Challenge, they're the very first people who gave me an opportunity to influence for, it was an event, yeah? So usually the contracts are like word of mouth, yeah? So, like someone is going to call you, Oli, I have a gig here, can you come through, So that kind of thing. That makes it hard, when you're tracking and trying to build a defense for yourself. But with brands, bigger brands, I've understood that it's always better you negotiate, so that times like this when they come in, you have a better defense. Like for Guinness, I even have it in my contract. Like, what's my role? What's my JD? What am I supposed to do with Guinness? How far do I go to endorse Guinness? What are the limits? In case, being an influencer, does it turn me into the PR of the brand? Of course not. So it's always better that you negotiate these things in the contract before you actually take on, because usually this money is juicy. Someone is going to slap a 3 million deal for like 1 month, and you're like, I have to take this. So if you're not careful and read through, Abbas, no. Abbas, no. So you can check, next time you call me for a gig, you know the rest. So usually it's always better you make these negotiations early, because anything can happen. And for me, I've always made it clear, and it's also in my contract, that my role is very clear. Even when they ask questions, when I put up a tweet and they ask questions, sometimes it's not me who's supposed to respond to those questions. If it's about the brand, then you'll have the Twitter account, the Twitter account brand come through to respond to that. So there's limits, but how you play that, it can play in your favor, it can play out of your favor. So depending on how you negotiate from the start is going to work out for you, or it will backfire on you.
We're going to ask our audience to ask us some questions, but maybe I come to you, Ronald, for the final question before we move to our audience. A lot of the ethical considerations that Olivia is talking about have been slapped onto us by a 90s model of doing work. Check in, you do your job from 9 to 5, you're an accountant. You can't be seen in that accounting lifetime doing a gig as a lawyer or moonlighting. But we've come into an age now where, I can take my car to Uncle Mo, and next minute, he hasn't delivered my car. Na ya aliku Instagram, aliku Twitter, is there talking about brands. That's the gig economy that many young people now have to deal with, The jobs are different every waking day. You could do a job for 30 minutes. You could do a job for 1 month. You could do a job as a permanent contract. How do we resolve these ethical considerations between the old style of work and the new style of working in the market, please?
I think the theories that guide us or shape us back in the 80s or 700s or whatever, they are still existing, but in a new form. Case scenario, when she was talking about how you would be concerned, let's say the producer is concerned about what's going on social media, the fault is not with her. it's with a company. You need to draft policies that protect, the brand that you hold. You understand? Knowing that when you, let's say, hire Raymond Mujuni or Olivia, yes, you have to protect your brand because they're going to be on your TV set. You understand? But with the gig economy, of course, you have to create rules that are going to be very more empathetic to them, not something that is going to limit them. Case scenario, BBC released a new updated social media policy, and it says no journalist should tweet using emojis because they are perceived differently. You understand? You raise one arm like this, or one finger like this. In Asia, it means something different. So that's a policy that is governing journalists in BBC. You understand? So same thing. With the gig economy, you have to look within yourself. Okay, yes, I need more money, but how careful should I, work with these guys? You understand? And I also blame it to the people who are behind the campaigns. Don't slap a campaign to a journalist which does not conform with their audience. You talked about brand personality, building brand personality. We call it brand voice, brand archetypes in deep marketing. But when you are a person who is, let's say, affiliated with another brand, you need to make sure that is the content that I'm producing suit for the brand also that I'm affiliated. You have to be empathetic with your employer, because if at all they slap, let's say, a strike, strike 3, you're no longer existing, you're losing money, you're not having a job, so you have to protect yourself, you understand? So with the gig economy, I think you just need to be smart at it, you understand? Be smart at it. When I'm accepting a gig, when I'm accepting a contract, how am I representing my brand? Because at the end of the day, these are the same people that are going to see me on TV or any other media platform that I'm voicing or, I'm working at. So it's us drafting policies that are favoring the staff that we are, employing, but also making sure that they are more empathetic and not very strict to let them, perform. But even if you get a gig, let me say case scenario, I believe people need to be very free to talk with their, let's say, their immediate supervisors, their bosses, their managers, their editors. I've gotten a gig, let's say, for NBS. Sorry, my bad. For
Next Media, please continue.
For Next Media. Okay, I've gotten a gig. Let me put it Guinness. Let's use Guinness. I've gotten a gig with Guinness, and I would want to, let's say, have support from the team. How can I work with them? How best can I, create content? I think if at all you have a good manager who can, even give you, let's say, on-air privilege, you know what? Go and do a presser. Go and do, an interview with the DM, with the MD, sorry. That's good. You're already influencing with them. You understand? You're helping the brand get the traction they are looking for with your account, but also you're negotiating with your employer just to create harmony. It's all about business cannot happen if there's no harmony. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Because I fight for journalists, and you mentioned social media policies, this is something I struggle with. Everyone I work with, they can tell you, Next Media, Nation Media, I don't sign their social media policy. And my reasoning has always been simple. This is how much money I earn on social media. Add it to the contract, I will sign the social media policy. If you don't add it to the contract, that's a different brand persona. You're not hiring who I am on social media. You're hiring my talent to appear on your TV. Shouldn't journalists have that say in the boardroom to say, I'll not sign your social media. If you need me really that bad, this is the contract that I'm willing to deal with.
I don't want to come off as if I'm very rude, but I think when I hire you, I hire your persona. When you tweet, media has changed, you understand? You have to understand that whenever you're on TV, you're also representing us out there. You're not going to be on TV and tomorrow we are seeing you, let's say, in a club and you're all tipsy and you're drunk or you sleep on the floor. That's brand crisis for my company. You understand? And if at all you're concerned about that, then why aren't you concerned about what you post on social media? Because that's your brand, that's your visibility. Digital has changed, brands have changed. Now we are digital assets. You understand? Just like how you see finance, money is changing, it's now crypto. So if at all you are a brand that is on social, that is who you are, and that's what I employed. You've seen people, let's say in Fox, when you look at CNN, Amanpo, I think doesn't have CNN on it, but when you see other journalists, let's say in Fox, or that's global, they add, let's say, the tag of the brand, let's say Raymond, NTV Uganda. It's because they are aligning to the fact that they are being employed by this brand, and also they are getting them more visibility. If at all you're very uncomfortable with signing the policy? Give me reasons why, and how can we make sure that you don't go against our brand policy, our brand image? Because at the end of the day, if at all you do something which is out of our policy, it will hit us back and we won't protect you. And hey, I've been in conversations whereby journalists say they are not defending us enough. Companies don't defend us when we are, let's say, we're in strike and stuff. Why do you want me to come and support you out there, yet you don't want to also abide by my rules on social? You understand? That's the problem. So I think it's a conversation for us to have with our bosses, the journalists yourselves, understand where you're working for, and have this. Don't be scared to have these conversations, because at the end of the day, we both have to win. There is no like one man on an island, like, yeah, that famous, everyone has to work in one accord, really. Thank you.
Mr. B, because you sign people's contracts, this is a question that would also come to you. If a person truly talented, people love them, the audience loves them.
Did you name Faiza?
Okay, Faiza, people love her. She's a darling of many people. And she wants to work with you on KFM, but she's uncomfortable about signing a contract that says, look here, the social media policy says you can't tweet about beer and alcoholic brands, yet she has existing contracts with those brands. This is a person who has a freedom of contract. They get into a contract with you based on the freedom that they can do what they want as and when they please. Does that sit well with you?
It does, and this is how it sits. One, I believe in empowering my people to succeed. If a policy is going to tie people down, I will not be party to that. I need a situation whereby I need to discuss many other issues with my people, not I need more pay. I need to discuss with you to succeed. And succeeding includes what you're doing on air and succeeding in your own life. I'll give you an example of not Faiza, I'll give you an example of Morondo, who she works with. Morondo, Brian Morondo, I think he makes more money, not I think, he makes way more money from his side gigs than he makes on KFM. There are times, even if only, there's a time I think the finance guys forgot to pay him for some time and he had no idea that he had not been paid. So what happened is, what he does amplifies who he is. Let's give people contracts, policies that empower them to be better. And if these policies and whatever Suna has talked about, by the way, I agree with you 100%. What he has talked about is where our policies anchored. Where are the ethics? If we are because the policies and all that, if it's a social media policy, it should be basically it should be enforcing the ethics of journalism, the ethics of media. If it doesn't talk about fairness, accuracy, humanity, balance, and all that, then that's rubbish. We can agree to put it under the table. But if it's a policy, because Raymond, look, as soon as put it, I don't want you to be tweeting, tomorrow I'm voting for so-and-so, and he will be our next president. Then you are coming and you are reporting from another camp. How will you report? I need you to report if you want to say, man, you say, the way things look like, he's talking about, if you are pushing for Bobby Wine, are you being fair in whatever you are saying? Because, look, you will be able to stay on that social media, make it, succeed, be trusted, be relatable, make money, if you are credible. So whatever policies we come up with should be in that line. There's one country, Freedom of Expression Act, the first one I think was in Sweden in 1776, somewhere around there. 1776, and it was all information should be published and everybody should have a right to publish all public information. I'm just paraphrasing. That is 1776. Now, why are we here in 2022 saying enotujukwatako? What's our point? So yes, companies, I know we feel like we own people, which is very wrong. I think we should, companies and media houses should look at themselves as empowering people to achieve their greatness. And while at it, make a good life out of it.
All right, thank you. Guys, I have space for 2 questions. So,
if I didn't answer your question, it's okay.
No. I have space for 2 questions. No worries. I know how to catch you. Yes, please.
Hello. Thank you very much. My name is Marion Apio. I'm an upcoming influencer. I've been inspired by Faiza and Olivia, so even my socials are growing. My simple question really is, I would like the panel briefly to really just define for us who's an influencer. Because I think there's a lot of confusion. Every time someone comes out to speak on something, all of a sudden they're influencers. And I think it would be very nice for us as young journalists to really understand. But then my second question is, as a person who's building a media company, where do you differentiate the individual from the digital persona that has come up throughout this panel? Because it's so confusing. Perhaps the reason why they've hired you is because you're shining out there. So where does it place the media companies to be able to differentiate between the digital persona and who you are as a person? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there any other person with a question? Okay, I'll come back to the panel, and I'll start with you, Ronald. That's a really important question. How do you define who is an influencer?
Okay, so just so you know, if at all you have a phone, you have a social media account, you tweet or you post on your WhatsApp story, you are an influencer. Everyone is an influencer. However, when you go into the dynamics of marketing, influencers are segmented depending on the follower count. So we have the macro influencers, the micro influencers, others call them meta celebrities, they have all different catalog of how it's define them, you understand? So you could say a macro influencer is an influencer who has, let's say, 10,000 followers plus. In India, it could be different. A macro influencer in India could be a person who has, let's say, 1.5 million plus. So yeah, that's how we define influencers. However, just to remove the stereotype of the influencer is someone who, let's say, is on social media and has huge numbers, is different. It's wrong. Oftentimes, we've seen some viral tweets that have been, amplified by other, let's say, famous people. You understand? Does that person create influence and impact? As long as you can create impact and influence, you become an influencer. So those are things you have to reconsider if at all you want to have that label. I'm an influencer. Yeah.
So people who tweet about Kenya are influencers in this regard.
People who tweet about Kenya. They create impact.
You walked into that
They
one.
create impact.
Olivia, respond to the question and also make some concluding remarks so that we can wind down our panel.
I think for me, I can't define an influence again. He has defined it, and probably he shed more light for me. Probably I didn't understand who actually an influencer is. For me, I thought, he captured it. You have your phone, you have data, you are endorsing something, like selling a product. For me, that's what I understand.
Just to tap you in there, I was in a meeting about a month ago, and I was with a betting company from Nigeria. It's starting up shop here in Uganda. And I was having a conversation with one of the managers, and he told me, in Nigeria, literally, everyone is an influencer. Actually, my wife is an influencer. So in Nigeria, it's that bad that you would, the competition is at stake. You understand? So everyone literally who has a social media account is an influencer because there are crazy number of people who are engaged on their social media platforms. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think I have to add anything. What you're talking about, digital persona and the person and the journalist, for me, I feel like, and I know most people will not like my response, and I really don't care. That's not for me to decide, yeah? I feel like everyone has a life outside what they do. You don't expect me to be a journalist 24/7, yeah? I am young, and every time this thing comes up in the newsroom and they're asking me why probably I'm tweeting about Chibala and, going to Kush on Friday, I'm like, but how do you want me to act? Do you want me to be someone else? At the end of the day, I am Olivia and I'm supposed to be Olivia. When I show up in the newsroom and do your work, I've gone to the field, I've filed your story, it's objective, it has, all the things that you require, then what more do you want from me? Like when I go out there on my social media, that's my space to express who I am. And most of the times this comes off as I'm being defiant, but I don't think. That's my space, and I control how I use that space. And this doesn't sit well with most of the 90s bosses that we have. Not you, Mr. B. But what I'm trying to say is, for me, that's not for me to decide. I should be, don't cut my paycheck. For me, that's not for me to decide. I am going to have a life. I have a life outside the newsroom, and how that rubs you, that's not for me. I am going to do my things the other side. Come here and do my job, as long as I'm doing what I'm required to do. That's all you require from me. Yeah.
Mr. B, digital persona versus, Pfizer tweets her things wherever she tweets them from, and then next morning she's on your radio station. Is there a difference between who Pfizer is online and who Pfizer is before your microphone to your audiences?
I think the problem would be if she was tweeting at 2 a.m. and she arrived late. Let's not compromise each other. I like to use this phrase in my private life, where I've been married for 16 years. I normally tell people, you need to make each other better as a couple. Don't make each other bitter. In your life, your digital persona, are you making where you work, your other job, better, or you are making one bitter? It's that simple and straight. And the easier way to do that is, yes, I know you said it's your space and you regulate it and you decide what you need to do. I think the principles that made journalism credible, if they were borrowed and used by the influencers, then would have a safer space where we don't need that MP with that amendment. And it's simple. If I'm talking, we may be talking about influencing for UBL, influencing for Coke, influencing for road safety, but in whatever you are doing, are you being fair? Are you accurate, or you're just throwing out things for the sake of it? Are you balanced? If you're talking about road safety, what's the point of putting a gruesome picture of guys who have just died in a road accident for you to make a point? They are human beings. Respect them. So if we borrow the principles of journalism, what we call the ethics of journalism, and we applied them on these new platforms, let me tell you guys, you'll be unstoppable as influencers. People will look for you, not for the numbers that you have, but for your credibility.
Olivia, I'm sorry, but I have to come back to you. And because you said you can't split your digital persona from who you are, there's a very thick line between who you are online and who you are at the workplace. This is a real case scenario. It just happened 2 weeks ago. 2 a.m., someone in their free time says, me and my army, we will capture Kenya in 2 weeks. 2 a.m. It's his life, it's his Twitter account. It has nothing that says he's Commander Land Forces Uganda. And next morning, 3/4 of government is responding and apologizing to Kenya. So how do we split between who you are online if your consequences come to us nonetheless? Like, for example, there are many occasions where I get sent your tweets and people say, rein in your people. And I say, but this is them online. This is not what they're doing in my newsroom. So if you want to rein them in, please go to their online and rein them in. How do we reconcile that?
You're not talking about Kenya. I don't know why you want me to spend the night.
Yeah,
today.
Because you're the small goddess. You
because
can get
of
away
my
with
history.
it.
I don't know what you're trying to do. But I feel like Mr. B said, borrowing the basic ethics from journalism is, what strikes the difference. And for this person we are talking about in particular, it's, I don't want to end in prison tonight, but I'm going to choose my words carefully. Because with this law in place, Abbas, will you pick me out of that? Yeah, so for me, that person, I think he's been consistent with that kind of behavior online, yeah. And whereas we are talking about regulations, how NTV can come in once in a while with the social media policy, try to scare me here and there and tell me if you do not do this, this is someone who is, for lack of a better word, unruly. Like you're not, like you can't touch me, you can't do anything, yeah. So then it becomes hard to tame that person, but also to differentiate who that person is online and who they really are. Because when you're talking to some people, they'll tell you, no, that guy is actually fine in person when you talk to him. But it becomes very hard when this character is consistent and, he doesn't care who he attacks and stuff like that. So it becomes, for that person in particular, it's like I don't have...
Maybe, let me make it relatable. About a month ago, Nyege Nyege was happening. Many of you in our newsroom were influencers for Nyege Nyege.
No, I wasn't an influencer.
No, I'm just saying, many of you were influencers for Nyege Nyege. And the crisis was when Parliament tried to stop it, there were multiple points of news stories which came up. Someone has to go to Ginger and see what's happening. Someone has to go and interview the speaker. And all of a sudden, editors' hands are tied because we're like, this person is tweeting about Nyege Nyege, so they can't interview the speaker because the speaker's views on Nyege Nyege differ from what they are tweeting.
I was dropped on a story.
Yes. So those crises, every time that the newsroom has to run into them, they have to reconsider and say, this person is just causing us too much headache. So how would you respond in that regard?
Of course, headache has to be there because, you're dealing with journalists. Definitely, headache has to be there. But for that particular scenario, I remember I was one of the people who were tweeting about, I was very furious when the speaker said what she said about Nyege Nyege. As someone who has attended Nyege Nyege, yes, 2 editions. And you see, this is the challenge. You just hear the word Nyege Nyege and someone is scared. They don't even know what happens there. I'm like, how do you come to a conclusion, saying that this is what happens in Nyege Nyege, and you haven't even sent someone to go out there to actually verify. If you're talking about basic ethics and what journalism lives up for, verification is very important. So if you cannot send someone out there to verify what these allegations are on social media, then it didn't make sense to me. And for me, that's why I came out vehemently to talk about it. And I'm like, you can't stop something that you have no clue or idea about. But of course, that put me in a very compromising situation because I was asked to do a story for Nyege Nyege. They vaguely talked to me about it. But then I think he wanted to pass on a message. Then he's like, Nayogo watuna kueleza, will you come back? Will you do the story? I'm like, but I know my limits. I know if I go to do this, you want information about this thing. So my job there is to dig out the information and bring it out there for the people. So for me, like Mr. B said, the very basics of journalism, verification, trustworthy, objectivity, those are the most important things. So if we crawl away from those things, we shall keep coming back here for this very conversation.
Mr. B,
if I may just say,
yes.
I think we will struggle with this for some time, and eventually we will understand and appreciate that you can't have 2 personalities in one human body.
And just to add on, if at all you let me, that is highly correct, because what you see here actually in Uganda, why they're having double standards, they're having 2 separate lives, is because people don't have the freedom yet to express themselves on TV. Now, in America, it's quite different. You would find that actually the CEO of CNN has stepped down in February. There is a new, Chris has taken over because of what happened during the Trump situation. But American media is very opinionated, you understand? So what we see, let's say Olivia on social, is what you see also on TV. For them, they go all out. They don't care about what is on social media, who is me on TV. So you'd find that the future, if at all we don't guard, like earlier, draft these policies to govern our media houses, we are in for doom. So,
but Ronald.
Just 1 minute. I really want to, like, I don't want to sound defiant, but I don't want to believe with the notion of there can't be anything like two personalities. Like, I feel like the person that I am in the newsroom is totally different from the person I am on social media. And most of the times, I think, Raymond, we were together on Sunday, and someone made a comment, and you know, they were like, you're very chaotic on social media, but you're very quiet in person. Like, I feel like you can control the personalities as long as you don't go to the extreme. You know where to stop. These are things you can play around with. And I believe each and every one of us here has those moments where, you know, a personality comes out and everyone is like, wait a minute, is that Mr. B? You know? So there shouldn't be anything like, there are no two personalities. I don't want to agree with that.
Olivia, my point...
And that's my challenge.
I hear you. I hear you. And actually now, from now I understand what you are going through. I'll be an advocate for you. I really would like... Yes. I live for a point. I live for a moment where each one of us has freedom to freely express ourselves for who we are. Yeah. Why should you be in a newsroom where you can't get up and talk to the people? If you feel like dancing, you actually go and do some nyege. We need, and this speaks to the huge fundamentals we are facing. We have laws which are curtailing us, and then we end up having to act to survive. No, we don't have to survive. We have to thrive. Mr. Raymond, sir,
yes.
We can't have two personalities. We need to have a situation where we are one personality. When I'm interacting with you, I know what I'm getting. And that goes back to the fundamentals of our freedom of expression. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Mr. B, and for me, this is a matter that's really close to heart. I mean, I'm a journalist, I'm a saxophonist, I'm a dad, I'm a friend. Yes, I'm a friend to many people. That hasn't stopped me from interviewing presidents, UN secretaries, generals, whatever. When I call someone, I tell them, look here, I'm calling you because NTV wants to have an interview with you. And I'm calling you because I'm an NTV journalist that wants to have an interview with you. When I get there, I don't expect you to say, okay, before this interview, here's a saxophone. Please play before we have this interview. It's the same reason, for example, if I drive my car to Uncle Mo's garage and I park it there and it starts working, if I see him at Bandali at night, I don't expect him to be with a spanner and an overall at all times, you know?
No, but
this is, yes.
The mistake in there.
Like the professional.
The mistake in there, sorry, is we are not what we do. I am Joseph. I'm a Christian. I'm a husband. I'm a father, a road safety advocate. That's who I am. The rest I do complement this. And that's it. So because Uncle Mo is fixing cars, I don't expect him to fix cars in his sleep. He needs sleep. So, it goes back to the point I was making. Really, Raymond, and I'm glad you are doing, you know, our private conversations. I'll give you another example of another journalist, Andrew Mwenda. He's one of the few who is trusted by Besije, equally trusted by M7, and Obote trusted him to his grave. Why? Because when he goes and gets the story from Besije, he will tell it the way it is. The same when I don't know what he trades in between, but when he goes to M7, he will tell the story from M7 the way it was. I had a chance to work with Andrew Mwenda when he was doing Andrew Mwenda Live for the five years, non-stop. The amount of documents he had, and I mean, I'll tell you, his number one source of information when people are saying, yes, Andrew Mwenda is pro-opposition, but his number one source of information was not opposition. You are trusted. Right now, you can go into the Kamwocha camp, you get all the information, you talk to everybody as a journalist. You can as well go to the other camp of the guys going to Kenya, and they will give you the information. Why? Because you are balanced, you are fair, you are credible. Whatever you get, you cross-check and you verify. You don't publish everything. You are not just somebody's speaker. That speaker is amplifying what I'm saying. It has no say. But let's not go on social media as influencers and we are just speakers. What are we saying?
And Mr. Joseph,
Yes.
people fall in love with personalities and character. When you get married, I believe you get now in spaces that you would never go into before you got married, right? Because they know Raymond is a married man, I would want to associate with that. You understand? So that's what people get attracted to. So you can't say you're going to live two different personalities, yet what makes you is who you are, the whole sum of you. So people get attracted to personalities, and that's what you need to live on TV as well as on social media.
All right, thank you. Ladies and
Mr.
gentlemen,
Raymond, we have 2 questions here, if you will.
okay,
So please.
as long as we still have time, I have time for them, please.
Just 2 questions.
Just one simple one, Raymond. I just wanted to find out, really, what was the impact? What was the impact of really the censorship on Facebook, on the influencer economy? Because I've come to realize that you really have contracts with these good companies. You sign these contracts, and they expect you to deliver on social media using Facebook as one of the platforms. Then Uganda shuts it down. So what happens to you as an influencer in that regard? Who is supposed to really expedite this contract? Thank you.
All right, I'll leave that to Ronald. What's the second question?
Right here.
Thank you so much. I'm Ishmael Awenitwe. I'm a 4th-year student of Journalism and Communication at Makerere University. My question builds from Mr. B's submission on credibility. I grasped the name Mr. B because it relates to me as a youth. Yeah. So, and I'm also a Twitter influencer. My handle is at Ishmael Mr. Hani, in case you want
I'm
to
going
check.
to charge you for that advert, sir.
Yeah, so talking about credibility, it's so important because I could be on the same gig with Olivia or Kanale Mugume, but Kanale Mugume will earn 5 million and I will earn just 300K. Why? Why? Because I'm a joker on Twitter. And Kanale Mugume works for NBS, Olivia Komgisha works for NTV. Those are credible stations, so she has that chance that she's a credible source. That's why she earns more money. Now, my question comes, how can a young Twitter influencer like Ishmael balance credibility and reputation and the battle to keep their audiences happy through memes and jokes?
Thank you. I think I will leave that one to Olivia. So we have 2 questions. One for you, Ronald, because how Facebook basically monitoring.
I don't know. Were you approached? No, you were never. Okay. So the advertising policies are governed by the government of Uganda, right? So once they curb, let's say, social media, which is a channel that we use to express, and communicate, then it means that we are not supposed to advertise. That's why you would see that all telecom companies by then, Airtel, Africell, when we were still also existing, they all stopped posting on social media. So if at all like a client approaches you and they want you to promote their product on that platform, if at all you are a person who is conscious enough also to say, you know what, I may not want to go against, let's say, this policy, I think it's fine for you not to trade there. But what it means for you as an influencer is that how can you create more value on those different platforms? At the time, during lockdown, we saw another platform. It's called Sound what? I'm forgetting it. The Voice. Anyone knows the platform that has like Twitter Spaces? No one? Okay. There's a platform that provides content in audio format. Before we have Twitter Spaces for it, they do that 360, you understand? But you'd find more Ugandans now going into those platforms, let's say going to LinkedIn, going to TikTok, going to Instagram to get more traction, because now you stand as a businessman. How can I also generate more followers and more attention in those platforms that are actually available and free for me to advertise? versus you being against what has been curbed. And I think it's a conversation of how can I leverage my potential there, rather than going to a place where you've been tied up. So, yeah, when a client always approaches you in a time like this, just tell them, I can provide you value, but on a different platform. Can you consider this? If at all you don't have enough numbers, then of course you'll be out of business. Just work in the background and see how you gain traction on that platform until you make more money. Thank you.
All right, Olivia?
So I think for me, one of the things journalists enjoy is that by the nature of their work, they are influencers in some sort. So that kind of puts them on an advantage when they're going to negotiate some of these contracts and when they are called out to influence. So that kind of puts them on an advantage sometimes, but this doesn't happen all the time. I could be on the same gig with you and we're earning the same money. But by the nature of the work we do and the influence, you are at a better position to negotiate and sometimes set the rules and the guidelines. But for me, based on what Ronald talked about earlier and how he grouped the influencers, sometimes it depends on the company, the organization, and whoever is running a campaign or something, on how they want to pay their influencers. The macro influencers will earn differently from how the micro influencers will earn. But also I've seen instances where someone with relatively few followers earning more money than someone who has 100,000 followers. But also I think this comes to the content and how they craft their content. So sometimes it's how much value you're going to add on this campaign or on my brand that will determine how I pay you. How do you craft your content? How is your content engaging? If people watch your content, are they going to be interested in my brand? So for me, I think there are different things that these brands consider before they agree on a payment. But like I said, journalists kind of enjoy that kind of honeymoon because they're influencers by the nature of their work. That's what I think.
Mr. B, how do you balance your online persona and your workspace? How do you keep your audience engaged?
I think...
I'd forgotten you're an influencer too, by the way.
See, he just froze my brain. I never see myself as an influencer. I think an influencer is anybody with influence and what you are saying. So how do you balance your audiences? Raymond, for starters, on TV, you work as a team to keep the audience engaged. It's easier. If you are online and you are not putting out content, if you are not popping up on people's timeline, then we are not seeing you. We move on. And then people who like you, who put notifications, then they will keep tracking for you. So it's as simple as old school. You want people to stay listening to you, have relevant content that is appealing, that is catchy, that is captivating. You keep their attention. You have boring content. There are some people who I followed some time back, and at times I go back, I'm like, this one, why did I follow? Unfollow. So please keep your audiences engaged, and if you want to be credible, really, I'll congratulate you for earning 300K if you are doing emojis and jokes. Vis-a-vis somebody like Canary who will be earning 3 million. If you are doing that, I'll congratulate you. I'll give you an example of a small radio station with 10 people listening to it. You can never ask for the same amounts of money as a radio station that has 10,000 people listening to it. So if you can, you can do the percentages, and in any case, if anybody just calls your name, be happy with that. But otherwise, work hard, get content that is appealing, that is catchy, that is credible, can be trusted. People will like you, will follow you, and the money will follow. I think the problem and the biggest challenge at the moment that we have is somebody who has 10K followers is looking for money fast, fame, likes, before they look at what they're offering people. Let's look at offering our audiences value fast before we look for the money.
All right, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for my panel. They've spoken so much English. They've dispensed a lot of knowledge, and I hope that it was helpful and knowledgeable. I want to do something that doesn't happen often, which is hand over power back to Tracy. In this side of the country, it doesn't happen very often.
This is on record. Mr. Raymond Mujuni has handed over power to me. Yes, I am a big
Power
deal.
of a microphone.
That is the most important thing right about now. Another round of applause for our panelists and Mr. Raymond Mujuni. Yes, and of course, you know, just to wind it up from our social media side, and that is, of course, Zoom as well. Some of the comments coming in. Self-awareness and the need to realize we are in a competitive media era has to lead the way. However, we can amalgamate the creativity, digital media roles with the mainstream media. That is a comment coming in from Mr. Omara R. Roni. The other one saying, influencing has been a more clean online business for individual influencers. Others may not be journalists as such, but their understanding of digital marketing and effective influencing makes them more money than some journalists in the mainstream media. And of course, the last one coming in from Ian. Ian says, there is need for media houses to understand, learn how to monetize online digital stuff. I believe people need these skills and the tricks for this. Thank you so much to our online audiences, and of course, keep those comments coming in. I will be sharing them as they continue to happen. Well, right about now, allow me welcome the one and only Uncle Mo to bring us to speed with the next session. A man that is an engineer and a social media influencer. If you have your kawahalas and so much more, man. Uncle Mo. We were.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to take on the next session. It's going to be very interesting. First of all, a big hand clap to all people watching online. Let us appreciate them. Allow me to come up here. I'm not very tall. Now, the following people, I want to invite them quickly. They're going to first come up here. They tell us what they're going to talk about so that all of you can make decisions which session you want to go to listen to them. Yeah? Because we are going to talk all things that are we're going to discuss influence, the influencer situation in this country. All of you guys are influencers. All of you. You have your 200 followers. The fact that there are some people trying to follow you, which is unbelievable, is because some people believe in what you're doing. So we're going to find so many ways to find that you can make money out of the people that are following you online, and so forth. I want to first invite the people that are going to lead the next sessions to come up and sit up here. Where should I start? I think I saw him. I missed his birthday. I only saw it in photos. This gentleman has had the chance to be trained by the likes of BBC World Service, the likes of VOA, the likes of... It is painful. And right now he's head of digital marketing at Next Media. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Danze Edwin. And as he comes up here, I need him to, he's going to briefly tell us what he does and what he's going to talk about in his breakout room. Thank you.
I stand? Stand, eh? Okay. My name is Danze Edwin John. People rarely say that John. As he has said, I do digital marketing, content production, I'm a producer, gamer. Watch my show every Saturday on NBA Sport. I'm going to talk about building audiences, creating trust for your brand, and a bit of branding. Yeah.
Yeah, the gentleman is going to be talking about, yeah, people should believe what you're talking about. Yeah, big hand clap for Danze. Yeah. And now the next person I want to invite, I had you people talking about people that are cashing in. No, this is the actual person that is cashing in. This lady, I'm proud to know her. She has worked, I think, with every Class A brand in this country. She's rich. She has to be rich. Ladies and gentlemen, media personality and lifestyle influencer, Faiza Fabs. So you're going to come tell us what you do and what we're going to be waiting to hear about when we break out into your session.
Hello. Hi. I've added some radio voice, so we can sit in the session. But thank you so much for having me. My name is Faiza. I will be taking on the session where we'll talk tools to build a brand that is paying, and also a brand that is credible, a brand that people can trust for influencers.
Big hand clap for her. Yeah, all these things are very important because before you become an influencer, there's something you have to be doing that makes you a candidate to be an influencer. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about. And now I want to invite another one, Patricia Cahill, digital marketer and also social media coach. Yeah, here we are talking about experience. We're talking about experience. We're talking about Cahill. Ladies and gentlemen, let's also hear from her and what she's going to be discussing for us.
Hi. Hi, everyone. How are you? So my name is Patricia Cahill. I run a digital marketing agency that specializes mainly in creating content, making money out of your content. How do you create content that resonates with people, understanding how content works? Because we all know you can be on these digital platforms, but the money cannot come through if you don't know who you're targeting. So that's the session I'm going to handle.
Content monetization, a big hand, the most important part. Now, the last person I'm going to invite, also very glad that this was a good friend of mine. She is everything that my parents want me to become, but I cannot because she's a businesswoman, she's an actress, she's a dancer, actually when you talk about beauty icons in the country, name comes up. I remember, oh God, was that Miss MTN? So many of you, throughout your time watching TV, you've had 1 or 3 or 10 crushes on her. Ladies and gentlemen, businesswoman and fashion mogul, I give you Natasha Sinayobe.
Hello, my name is Natasha Sinayobe. I am an actress and an influencer, as they said. I am a model. I've been in the industry for a minute, but as I sit here, I'm also going to talk about what I learned along the way as I joined this industry. So I'll be talking about practices and tips, nuggets that an influencer needs to build a trusted brand. Yes.
Big hand clap. Yeah, before anything, people should be able to trust what you're talking about. Now, I have a team of people. Where's Patricia? Where are you? Yes, please just come in front because we need people to be directed to the following spaces where we're going to be. The main event here is where we shall have Danzi. We shall have Danzi here for his session. Then we shall have Faiza in the training room. So we will need Patricia to direct people who would be doing a training room session that's tools for journalists to build a trusted and paying influencer brand. Then we shall have the third room, that is Patricia Cahill's room. We're going to go to the boardroom. That's the room that's going to talk about the money, how to monetize your social media brand and content. Then the fourth, which is the TV studio space, that's where we're going to have Natasha talking about best practices, tips, and nuggets for influencers who need to build a trusted brand. Awesome. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you might want to pick where you want to go, if you want to consult with me just to know where the room is, you can also come back here, or you can go to Patricia to get that done. Also, the people on the online, catching us online, you're going to be thrown to where you're going to be, I think, automatically. The machines will do those things for us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's break out.
Okay, so it's 5:05. Hi, everyone. I'm going to introduce myself briefly. Danze Edwin, and in this particular capacity, I will be sharing some knowledge on audiences. So, briefly, before I normally do these things, I would like to know who I'm talking to. It's a thing about trust and brand and audience. So I'm going to ask everyone to tell me their name as fast as I move the mic around. Good? Okay, one name.
Aaron. Kenneth.
Hannah.
Kavuma. Samuju.
Ronald.
You're very low, eh?
Ronald.
Emma. Adore. Moses.
Moses. Okay. I want us to envision or try and put yourselves in the virtual space with exactly the things that we are doing right now. So let's imagine you're my audience. I'm trying to build trust with you guys. The fact that someone invited me to speak, I believe 20% of that has already been nailed, because the institution that has invited me here kind of trusts me to share some knowledge with you guys. So now let's try and build that so that by the time I leave, or by the time I show you some fancy slides here, you're able to trust what I'm saying. We're good? Okay, so there's a thing called a media landscape. Media is any form of content or any form of material or communities. A landscape is where it sits. Media landscape can be traditional or online. Traditional meaning radio, TV, print, out of home, etc. But I wanted us to focus mainly on the digital landscape for now. I'm going to share with you some global stats that are coming from a collaboration of companies from Hootsuite, We Are Social, etc. So what you're seeing here is our internet usage over time in Uganda. As you can see, since 2012 to 2022, it's obviously increasing. That's common sense, right? But the thing I want you to focus mainly on is the word Feb 2022 up there. And then the month January 2022. Obviously, that means there's been a significant hike in internet usage in January 2022. If you looked at this slide next year in January, I would easily say it's going to be much higher, all the way to about 15 to 16 million people active on the internet. Next. This is social media usage over time, again, from 2014 all the way to 2022. Now, the other slide was quite obvious. There was a growth. But this one has had a hike, an interruption, and another hike. I'm sure all of you know what happened between 2020 to 2021. We're in a pandemic. Other nations in the world experienced a much higher growth between this period of time vis-a-vis us. Who knows why? Can anyone guess? Why? Internet shutdown. Exactly. The audience in Uganda was interrupted. They took something away. For example, right now, they couldn't have heard you because you didn't have a mic. That interruption there. But there's been a significant recovery in 2021, closing to 2022. You get me? Next. Okay. Now, because of the nature of the internet and the consumer right now, I decided to pick out a slide for Facebook for obvious reasons. We've had back and forth with this platform in this country. I want you to know that you could take my word for it, but sometimes numbers don't lie. At that time, 2.5 million people were active on Facebook. How many people are on the internet in Uganda, based on what you guys saw? About 13. Do you think we're utilizing the audience well enough on the internet for this platform? Get it? We're not even halfway there. Get. Okay. And significantly, the one thing that I want you guys to notice towards the end here is you have on average, every single time someone is clicking on a post on that platform, it's 13 versus 13, male versus female. 13 men are going to come and interact on the same post as 13 women. But, if you look there, the share of male versus women who are active in communities has more women than men. So I won't stop there with the slides. So I want to engage you guys now. The thing about audience building is you must know the absolute facts. I needed to know who I'm talking to first, hence the brief introduction. If, who here is doing a business? Who here has a small business? Apart from you. Okay, anyone else doing something actively that they would call a thing they are doing, their personal business? Okay, what is it? I don't know if we can get this mic on. Well, that's me to do it, huh? Okay. So what's your business?
I own a band.
You own a bank?
Band.
Band. I was about to come and sit there. So you own a band. How many people are on the band?
7.
7 people. Do you have a particular kind of music or style or content you deliver to people?
When you say particular, it's a bit
For example,
wide.
there are jazz bands,
Okay.
things like that.
So mine is more of a contemporary.
Okay.
We only sing oldies when there's necessity. Like the event is for like elderly people. But usually most of our nights is contemporary music.
So
Western, local, Swahili, Nigerian, you get
Do
all the contemporary.
Do you have an idea what age group normally consumes your music from the band?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
which is?
Between 40 and 18.
18 to 40?
Yeah.
Do you think there is an exact age group that is for you between the 18 and 40, that bullseye?
Yeah.
Which is?
Does it have to be wide or one age?
That one age. Let's go for one age.
25.
25.
Yeah.
Okay. What we've just done right now is we've defined our audience to the absolute dot. Now, I'm a journalist by practice. I'm a creative by training. People in media speak to mass. But like he has broken it down for you, there are different brands of media that are going to be delivering different things. For example, I'll use the not in any order. We have NBS, we have Bouquet Day, we have NTV, we have Salt, we have Smart BBS, so many TV stations. Do you think they're all targeting the same kind of person? Do you think they're targeting the same kind of age? Age? I would agree with them. Now let me give you something, an insight that you need to know. Your audience is broken down into 2 unique things, and it's based on our psychosis. You have the people that receive our messages. For example, you guys are receiving it right now. Who is the oldest person among you guys? He knows himself. Anyway, there are 2 types of people that are going to consume your content, your audience. The people that receive, they're receivers. The person that receives your message, do you think is the same kind of person who engages with your message? Do you think so? No. It's completely different types of audience. The person that receives your message is 25 to 34-year-olds. That's a standard across the internet. That's something that you should always know when designing your message. Danze has come. He has a product that is taking to a journalist. He has an investigative story he wants to do on tents not being delivered at Nyege Nyege, for example. You get it? When you're designing that message, you're going to design it for 25 to 34-year-olds. Why? They can afford a standard smartphone. They can afford a degree of data. They are probably the ones buying the TV set. They are the ones paying rent. They are the ones with the earbuds, etc. 25 to 34-year-old. The person that engages with your content is 18 to 24. Why? They still own handsets, yes, but they have the time to open TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, go to Nile Post, go to New Vision, go to Daily Monitor, and actively comment. Have you gotten the difference between the two? They have more time because the 25 to 34-year-old already bought the screen. Probably if you're the sugar daddy, you've bought them, the smartphone. You get me, eh? So those are the two things, another insight that you need to know about audiences. But remember what I showed you there, the 13 verses 13 and the 6 verses 5. It means more female 18 to 24-year-olds are going to engage with your content. You get? That's how you break down your audience metric. It's very, very easy, especially if you're dealing with the online space. Extremely easy. It's a standard across any region in the world because of how we've been feeding the internet and social media platforms with our personal information. You get? Okay. Now I want to talk about trust briefly. Statistically speaking, this is done by Ipsos and Deloitte. 55% of consumers of any product do not believe that the brand is being transparent with them. Do you guys agree with me? Do you believe that Pampers are the best for babies? Does anyone have experience with Pampers here? No. Do you believe that it's, okay, I don't even know the other brands. Okay, let's go to sanitary pads. There are multiple options. You have Always, I think it's Shuya. I think it's Shuya. Do you guys have a preference when you're getting them? Oh, I'm speaking to the ladies here. Is there a preference? What do you base on when you're choosing?
So I think not that we've done personal research, but to each their own. So as mentioned, different things they do, from making sure there is no leakage to making sure there is no odor or there is nothing like. So sometimes it is that you've been told, and then you make a preference.
Okay. Now let me talk about condoms. Again, I'm assuming all of us are adults here. I only mentioned 2 sanitary pad brands because to me, they're the ones I know. I'm sure the ladies know multiple other options. I'm not the target audience, but I am a potential consumer or buyer. Get it? Do you think that Always and Shuya have done enough for me to be aware about their brand? I would say yes. The other guys, no. They have not done it. So by default, those 2 brands have understood their target audience. Let's talk about condoms. The #1 condom brand in the world is, you guys want to tell me? You guys could just mention some that you know. Singapore.
I had some guys saying Durex. I don't know if you
Durex.
Yeah,
okay.
I had someone.
Okay, Durex or Kiss, so many out there. Trust, blah blah blah. Why it's easier for me to mention multiple of them is because this is a product that is going to be consumed by either the female or the male gender. But the best possible, okay, who do you think gives the best insight on the best condom to use between a man and a woman? It's a brand question. Who do you think it is? Think about it very logically. Woman. Anyone else with a deviating answer?
Yes.
Who?
The man.
The man. Do you want to explain? Do you want to explain your answer? I agree with you. No, just go ahead, then I can also give my insight. There's nothing correct or wrong in this case.
You know, it's like food, because the person who's swallowing it is the one who knows.
The taste.
Yeah.
I thank you for coming. Now, no pun intended. But anyway, so research has been done again. Try and just write down Forbes or Deloitte key trends of 20 of 2022, you'll find all these amazing small nuggets and insights. Now, they've done research and they found out men buy latex based on advertising, but they on a large scale. For example, if I walk out there and I ask for condoms, I'm going to ask for Durex or ask for anything else that I've seen. But the woman most times will dictate because of how she reacts to this kind of latex. You get it? So again, we've broken down different types of audiences, and we've talked briefly about brand. Durex is very engaging. They are designing their adverts or content for a 25 to 34-year-old, but the style in which they deliver it is so young and hip. Like Red Bull does it on Nike, that they know people are going to talk about the fact that this advert was in this sense. You've seen the advertising, I'm sure. Even the innocent people here, you've seen. You've heard about it. So anyway, 55% of people don't believe in brands at all. It's very hard for you to go and to consume a new product. Like Rubis. Rubis recently entered the market, but there's always been Total, Shell, I don't know who else has been there. So many other places. But Rubis has come in a smart way. It has entered the market, but it entered using influencers, for example. You get it? Now, why they are doing that is because however much you guys, maybe you're going to be future anchors or media personalities or influencers, however much you're shielded by a big brand, Next Media, for example, people will never consume your content with full trust because it's coming from a brand. But from the 55% of people that don't believe that brands are transparent, there's a huge portion of 15 that believe they are somewhat transparent, and the other percentage doesn't. The biggest driver for messaging to your audience right now is, one, you. Secondly, is the person that influences you. And then lastly, it's a brand. Have you understood that? It's very hard for you to have known about me that I do digital marketing without me having said it with my mouth. I have no proof of it yet, but the more I speak about it, understanding data and numbers, you begin to believe, and it can't be a one-time interaction. It has to be continuous. Hence someone saying, for more, go on my social media and see the insights that we do share. So every time you're designing a campaign, or in case you have a brand, or you have a story that you're going to tell, it can't be a one-off delivery. It's impossible. That is why you hear teasers, leaked news, trailer has dropped, then official trailer, movie premiere, public screening. The big brands do this deliberately because no one is going to tell you that the next Black Panther movie is going to be amazing. Part one was the bomb. We have no guarantee that it's going to be another $900 million USD movie when Black Panther 2 drops. That is why they put in the work to sell you the product periodically. And they're not selling it to you using the Marvel brand. Have you noticed? People love Chadwick Boseman. They know Black Lives Matter movement exists. So they sell you the character vis-a-vis the product or the brand. Okay. Now, we are going to talk about loyalty. In audience, in brand, then one of the biggest drivers is loyalty. There's a reason as to why every time at 7 p.m. people switch to NTV Akaongezi to watch. There's a reason as to why every day in the UK, okay, 7 p.m. our time, or 9 p.m. our time, people switch to Sky Sports News to watch football highlights or sports highlights. There's a reason as to why some people in the US right now prefer Fox versus CNN. The loyalty that has been built on the trust that you have been delivering a certain promise. For example, I'm sure you guys some of you may have issues with Nike, for example, but personally, because I love shoes so much, if someone was to ask me randomly from let's say from the States, what shoes do you want? I'm sure Nike is going to come in your head. It's going to sneak in somewhere there, you get it? It will sneak in because they have consistently sold the promise of just do it. So get a brand message. Get something that you're going to stick to always. MTN, everywhere you go. Airtel, the smartphone network. Very deliberate words that they are saying for a very deliberate audience. And that creates loyalty. Messi versus Ronaldo. Get it? Loyalty is the one thing that's going to make you put out a very rubbish product and people are going to consume it without asking any questions at all. There's a time I bought spaghetti. I think it's Santa Lucia, something like that. So I had been buying it for a very long time until one of the maids told me, why don't you buy the original? I'm like, what? I'm like, no, like I brought it out and I put it there. So I realized one is Santa Lucia, the other one is Santa Lucy. But same, okay, I can't say same taste because I'm just eating at that point. But you get, loyalty. I was saying, this is it. For example, I am unfortunately a Manchester United fan, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a pity. But, like football clubs, they've consistently delivered to their lowest possible expectations. But the loyalty is there. And because it was built at a much younger stage. So the last thing I want to leave you guys with is this. Remember, 25 to 34-year-olds are receiving your message. 18 to 24-year-olds are engaging with your message. Stop using big words in your messaging. Dumb it down a bit. You can talk about gender-based violence to a younger audience without using heavy words. It's extremely important that you focus on the engagement of your audiences versus how huge it is. NBS, NTV, KTN, Citizen, they have huge numbers of followers. But you're going to find a small account, okay, smaller account in this case. I'll use, let's say, I'll use Uncle Mo, I'll use Ivan, I'll use Bradley, I'll use the people that I know in my faces, delivering much more effective content and getting higher engagement because it's very targeted, because they have a loyal following, and because they are delivering it to, or they're delivering it in a style that makes sense for engagement. So every time they ask you, hey, I've put up my post, but it's only getting 2 likes. Because you've used the word, let's see, what word can I use? You've used oil and gas as your heading. Or petroleum conferencing to get all those big things. Like the meme is, there's this thing NBS does. They have this standard word they use, the word disseminating, those things. The moment we began to dumb it down a bit, because if you're going to talk about Kakwenza, just type topic, discussion on Kakwenza. We are not going to die. The audience is going to understand it. They will engage with you. People are easily put off by colors, the words we use, the audience you use, or the person delivering the message usually turns them off. So there's a few things I need to share with you guys about audience trust and brand. And remember, you first, your intended audience, and brand last. Always. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Danze. Another round of applause for Mr. Danze. Any questions? All right, questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Danze. My name is Hannah Rinaitwe. I enjoyed this session. So I do have a few questions. What exactly should be our aim when it comes to growing our audiences? Should we look at engagement more than following?
Okay. One by one, so that I can answer it. Okay. I forget I'm an old guy these days. Okay. The most, let's try and be as practical as possible. When you open a tap, 1 drop comes out first. It's a must. That's just how gravity works. From that, it spreads out. Every time you stop that tap, that flow will be static. When you open it again, it's always that 1 drop that comes out first. Focus more on engagement at any given point you have. Are you on Twitter?
Yes.
Have you noticed again, you're going to find something so relatable. The tweet will have 30,000 likes, 200 retweets. And when you click on the account, it has 70 something followers. Design for engagement versus audience. But if you're an influencer, the best formula should always be a big audience that is highly engaged and is very loyal. You will always outdo me with my small numbers and amazing content. That's the unfortunate bit. Because if I'm selling a soda and I come, let's say I'm a Pepsi, Mountain Dew, my sponsors, I'm Mountain Dew, and I come to pick between Danze and Hannah, and then you check our online community or following, and I have a bigger one, and then say you have a smaller one. Because of how the nature of brand is, I'm going to gravitate towards Danze first because he has a bigger audience. But when I begin to understand deeper things that she makes better content than I am, I'll say, okay, I'll move towards her. But then this guy has high activity, Danze. I'll keep on bouncing back and forth. The best mix is to have a huge, very highly engaged and loyal audience. If you don't have it, go for engagement.
So they work hand in hand.
They can. The best formula would be that. For example, do you drink alcohol?
No.
Do you drink soda?
Yeah.
What's your best soda?
Pepsi.
Pepsi. Why? Coca-Cola is another option. Why do you like Pepsi?
I don't know, because I see it a lot. Like I see Pepsi.
Do you
not
think,
even the taste, not even about the taste.
do you think there's a difference in the taste?
No.
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 But you said Pepsi first. You really need to think about it. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. So this one is a bit in relation. So people say seeing consistency. But one of the things I've experienced as a content creator is there are times when I post very consistently, but the engagement is less. And then there are seasons where I'm not posting consistently, but the engagement is higher. Does it go back to the content?
Bukenya, could you give me that other slide that you didn't show? There's another slide about platforms. No? You'll have to skip. There's a platform slide somewhere. He's going to get it. Don't just stop. There's some information I don't want to see here. But now, you need to understand the platform you're on to always figure that out. It's best that I practically show you here. Because it's the same thing I suffer at the park. Because we have so many on-air talent and media personalities, we put them under so much pressure to be on social media. We don't tell them where to be. It's not important. It's important for your content to be present across all social media platforms. It's not important for you to be on all of them. No, it's a different one. It has bars and percentages. It has bars and percentages. You'll have to skip forward. Now, consistency is good for YouTube. Okay, keep going. Keep going. There we go. Okay, this is the formula I use always because I figured this is I don't want to use the word a local audience brand, but Sanyuka is targeting the mainstream audience. Because it's targeting the mainstream audience, remember I showed you 2.5 million people on Facebook. The mainstream audience is on Facebook for obvious reasons. Now, you need to break down your platform use. You cannot be good at all social media platforms. It's impossible. I've never found a human being that is that good. Even Ronaldo, he gasses beans on TikTok. The numbers are not that big, get it? But he's niched on Instagram. Have you noticed that almost all the A-list celebrities are big on Instagram first? Because it's images, short videos, and other influencers. They found their space. But you've realized they consistently post, or their teams consistently post on those platforms. Your consistency should be based on the habits of your target audience. For example, I love gaming, I love movies, I love a bit of digital marketing. I know those people are active late in the night because they are on Twitch, they are streaming, or because they're in other regions. Ugandans that don't really like esports that much, but I know Kenyans, South Africans, people in the US do. So I post that content at that point. Deliberately, consistently. That's when consistency matters. The reason as to why you're having hits during certain times is because the content was relatable. You get it? Relatability brings more engagement. For example, there's a tweet I put out about the lines on the road. I was honestly not sure what they were for. I just asked. But I knew there were like 60 dancers out there who also have no idea. The tweet blew up because people were actually curious. They just waited for someone to speak. So consistency is based on the habits of your target audience. Are they awake at night? At 9? Are they using an iPhone? Are they women? Are they below 18? All those things. Yeah.
Sorry, I have very many questions. The last one.
Let's take just 2 more questions and then we'll be done.
I would like to find out from you about the, you talked about the, how did you call it?
You can use anything to describe it. I'll get it.
Sorry?
You can try and describe what I said. I'll just try and...
You mentioned the areas where we should actually be more specific when we are doing our brands. Then you talked of the not geographic area, but
the demographics.
Demographics.
Yes.
Yeah, but you didn't elaborate more.
Okay. It's a pity I don't have that slide. But think of the best way for you to design a consumer portrait. This is now we're dealing consumer portraits. Sorry, Bukenya, I'm going to ask you one last time to help me reverse. Just go back to target audience. There's a slide behind. You've skipped it. It has clouds. Go ahead. Ahead. This. First, go ahead again. Okay. Now, there are multiple things that define this bottle before it becomes a brand. I deliberately undressed this guy because, one, this is just a water bottle now. But this is a Renzori, mineral water bottle. The consistent words are just bottle and water. You need to think about multiple things when designing a message for a brand or for a persona. First, go to the previous slide. Okay. They have so much going on in their heads. Pepsi is whispering, Coca-Cola is whispering, Red Pepper, everyone is telling them something all the time. They are loyal to some brands, yes. But if someone gave them a much better option, they will take it without hesitation if it's designed well for them. For example, think about how they are getting their information. Is it on phone first, radio first, newspapers, or TV? Think about where they live. It matters a lot. There's jam coming towards this side. So meaning that person has a lot more time to keep on checking their social media because they're in traffic, but only after work hours. So you also need to think about that. Not just because they're in traffic, but they're in traffic at 5 p.m. Think about their internet usage. Yes, you have 13 million people on the internet, but what about this Jane? How much data does she use? Is she using Freaky Friday or not? There's so much you need to think about, even how much money they earn at the end of the month. So, next slide, first go ahead. So, after you think about all the things that are bubbling in their heads, you then ask yourself, how do they behave online? That's what I was trying to hint on. They have a smartphone. This is how maybe you will describe it in the long run. They have a smartphone and they use it for WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and an app. Your messages should stop there. Don't think about LinkedIn in this case or any other platform. You've figured out where they are. Content type they want is short clips. And that's a standard across all. You've seen Twitter has also brought scrolling clips. Dramatized both political and entertainment, non-serious, trendy content, shareable content. And then the data consumption is they are price sensitive All of us are price sensitive. Even the CEO of Next Media is price sensitive, but at a different gap. Okay? Then there are data consumers. They look out for data deals and combos. The time they are consuming your stuff is weekends, and they spend a lot of time during the week on the internet. These things explain themselves when you take the time to understand what's in their heads, always. Get it? And that's why always avoid designing campaigns for you. You, the marketing manager. No. If in your agency there is a 16-year-old and your campaign is for 16-year-old, ask. Forget the books, forget CIM, what, bitchy. Ask. The trend is right there in your face. Okay.
All right. We have 3 minutes, so quick question.
My question is around, if you are getting into the market, you have new concepts that you want to try out, but you're not sure that the audience is either going to take them or not. How do you listen to your audience and then you're able to build up on those concepts all the way up?
If you're going to go to the market with digital marketing, for example. Okay, traditionally, we normally used to do Ipsos and all those things, research data, whatnot. It's easier on the internet because we give away our personal information for free. We get it? So utilize data analytic tools. 65% of the good ones are all free. Brand 24, for example, free. You have social bearing, free. You have, let's say, which one can I give you guys that's not going to... Look at Meltwater, but not the agency version. But Brand 24 and Social Bearing are going to give you good insights. You simply go, for example, on socialbearing.com. You're trying to go into the market. Maybe you're giving out Infinix. And you know Infinix is for 16-year-olds. Which 16-year-old is very active on social media? What's their handle? Put their handle in there. It will break down every single thing for you clearly. Secondly, when you're doing market research before going into the market, ensure that you're utilizing the best kind of questionnaires. It's extremely important that the questions you're asking seemingly are many, but are very detailed. Someone is going to take 5 minutes to fill out a form if it is engaging enough and if they are actually learning something new about themselves. And thirdly, influencer marketing is a thing, but get the right influencers. Don't go and get Uncle Mo to influence shoe polish. You get it? But if you got him to do what he's doing with Prudential and Stanbic, it's tried and tested. You're seeing the ripple effects. Don't get me Danze to tell you about the best medicine to keep your pancreas fine. It will make no sense. So, and also, guys, it's okay to copy and paste. It's very, very fine. But make sure your delivery is relatable to your target audience. Okay. Hopefully I answered. Cool.
All right. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for Mr. Danze. Yes. All right. Right about now, we are ready for some entertainment, and I am told that Band Adore is taking us right into that entertainment break. We'll be right back with Uncle Mo.
everyone. So I believe from the start we hadn't introduced ourselves. My name is Ado, and we are band Ado. So I'm going to be performing an original composition. It's called Gwan Sanida. Enjoy.
When she loves, she's affectionate. Want to know love, she's compassionate. Darling, anyway. Obonda konda hande wanya tendiashana. Say, come make me happy. Be my one and only. I wanna love you. I wanna be your man, oh baby. Say, come make me happy. Be my one and only. I wanna love you. I wanna be your man. So baby, nzakwagala. Be my mwagalwa. Once I need honey. Baby, uliomo abana mwagala. Mokesa okuwa mwagalwa. Onsanira nyo. Disambera nkubuulira kwacha wankola. When she loves, she's affectionate. What's on all she's compassionate. Darling, anyway. I'm on the honey vanje. Oh, nzakwagala. Be my mwagalwa. Once I need oh honey, ladies. Tukumacha zetonsibula. Boss Mogambe, tonchakora. Zukiriza lafu endeta. Chokolanko kwateko feeding and then I took home. Wobula, ijankwodeche. Ngolo mwa, lekanko kondache. Lafu wange, le mutima wange. With your love, said I could love you. Said I could love you. Anyway, nzakwagala. Be my mwagalwa. Once I need oh honey, baby. Nzakwagala. Be my mwagalwa. Once I need oh honey, lady, yeah. So watching the sun go down, cloud is drifting in. We can get closer now, feel the warmth breathing. Girl, I love looking in your eyes, I'm feeling so alive. And come when you touch me, it's time to take it through the night. Oh, don't touch, you look so fine. Girl, I wanna make you mine. I want to be with a woman just like you. I wanna do to you all the things you want me to. So just let me be with a woman that I love. So baby girl, no, you can make me feel mysterious girl. I wanna close to you, so close to you, my baby. Mysterious girl, move your body close to mine. So close to mine. So on my commanding wife, destroy my love. Oh my God, nigga wife, you want to destroy my love. La 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 long, 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 come on, baby. La 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 long, la 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 long, 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 long. Say oh 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 da da, oh oh yeah. Girl, I wanna do to you all the things you want me to. So just let me be with a woman that I love.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to be playing the last song. It's going to be an original composition as well. It's a song I just released. It's called Talk to Me. Enjoy.
Been calling you for 6 days. Oh, I long for you. I'm in love. Pick up or I'm texting you. But now you know I won't stop. Now, tonight I'm coming over. The distance is killing my mind. Won't tell you no comfort. So come on, I'll pick up the phone. And I've been growing kind of fond of you. And all the things we used to do. Making out on the road. Some can't leave me. Oh, so talk to me, babe. Oh, man, you want to. But want me to talk to me now. So let's say, they call you to talk to me. Acabo de catchira con your mavita. Talk to me, baby. And get it in your get it for cabeza. O movire con noma. And baby, can that I'm pura. O wongo si chategira vincola. Life and you get easy one quarter. Masima tara chichi, baby, chidi conchaya. But now you're gonna be the como la madonna. Oh, I can't start to be fed now. But I go to that and more. Baby, holding it, that I love your body. Where you want, I'm counting on a good day. Don't they come and pick up that silly. So talk to me, babe. Oh man, you want to but go meet it and talk to me now. So let's say they come on in and talk to me. Acabo de catchira con your mavit. Say, you're double zero. Oh, I can say coco. Sing uncle Abaco. Oh, Banco Quateco. Now with the old Masiman Zaganina. Motimango Quasica. Sit Chaco Kuleka. Get it to the don't you talk Mohabatiana Contuga. Not a cavioli now, won't you come in your young baby? Holding a dagger of old what day. Where you are, I'm counting on a good day. Turn the car down. So talk to me, baby. Oh man, you want to but go meet it and talk to me now. So let's say they come in and talk to me. Acabo de catchira con your mavita. Talk to me, yeah. Oh man, you want to but go meet it and talk to me. So let's say they come in and talk to me. Acabo de catchira con your mavita. Talk to me.
Thank you very much.
A big hand clap for Band Ado. A big hand clap, everybody, for Band Ado. Thank you very much. Actually, I'm very glad that I was among the first people to listen to that song. It's one of his latest creations. Another big hand clap to the creative guys. Band Ado, everyone, again. And before I invite back our speakers that have been taking on the last sessions, in a special way, microphone. Yes, in a special way, let us appreciate everyone that has made this possible, ladies and gentlemen. A big hand clap to our partners, our sponsors, the hosts, the panelists, everyone that has made this look as colorful as it is looking right now. Now I'd like to invite back to these seats up here, Danze, Pfizer, Patricia. Let's have Natasha. Let's have them coming back up here. We're going to have 4 presenters to just give us highlights of what has happened in the breakouts. As our speakers take their seats, I'd like to invite Hannah Arinaitwe. Where you, yes, a big hand clap for her as she comes up to just give us in 1 minute, tell us, what went down with the room that had Danzi Edwin.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Hannah Arinaitwe, a student at Makerere University, 3rd year. I also work with Power FM as a music curator and a radio presenter. So our session with Danze was a very good session, but the biggest point that we picked out is understand your audiences in the different social media platforms. When you do that, you can know what they want to engage in and what they don't want to engage in. Thank you.
Awesome. And now for someone to just give us a quick recap of what happened with the session that was led by Pfizer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Joyce Akelo. Joyce Akelo, the floor is yours. Yes, big hand clap for her, guys.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Joyce Akelo. I'm a 4th-year student of journalism at Makerere University. And we had a lot in the session with Pfizer. And the last thing she said was about having a brand profile. So when you're having a brand profile, as a journalist, the nature of our job puts us at the front line. So we need to sell trust, like they said in the beginning. Sell trust. Be honest with yourself. Do research. Have knowledge. You do your work in such a way that when you have set out your brand, you don't have to announce to everybody that I can do this. Let them just check your profile, check your brand profile, and find all your work online. And yeah, so it was an interesting session. And she said, network, look for key people and network with. I believe in this room, everyone is a key person. So before you leave this door, please make sure you know your neighbor's name. Say something, you never know, you may find them out of here and they'll be your next potential employers. I don't know, so that's all. Thank you.
That was awesome. Yeah. You can't just start going around accusing yourself falsely. Like, I can't be telling people I'm light-skinned. Yeah, people will always know what you're doing, what's going on in your life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, from the class that was read, for Patricia, I want to invite Boaz Oyo. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening, guys. My name is Boaz. The economy had to push me where Patricia was. This is how for one to monetize content, what you should do. Well, one, determination. You have to be determined. Do whatever you're supposed to do to have that money if you want to monetize content. Yes, identifying what content. Is it desirable? Like, are you creating it for someone? Is it in need of anyone? And 3, identifying the people you're producing that content for. And then the platforms. The platforms doesn't stand alone. You have to make sure that you maintain engagement. If you're posting something and then you have comments, you do not reply. It's like in normal business, you don't have customer care. You will not make money. It has some things to do with all the 5 W and H of journalism. Who, what, when, where. Who are you creating the content for? What content are you giving? And when are you producing that content for the audience? Briefly, that was what in the mandate. Thank you very much.
A big hand clap for the gentleman. So you should know that every time you're responding to your comments, you're doing customer care. So I think from my next comments, I'll start getting them with customer for Murunji. Now, from room 4, the room that had Natasha, I would like to invite Sandra Aikoru to come and tell us what happened there.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Aikurati Sandra. I'm a third-year student I'm a third-year student at Makerere University, pursuing a bachelor's degree in journalism and communication. Thank you so much, Natasha. We had a great experience because she was able to give us relatable experience that she has gone through and what we should not do. So number one is be hardworking when it comes to social media. Be hardworking and try to put out as much content as you can, but create a niche. Find a niche that works for you. If it's acting that works for you, stick to that. If it's music that works for you, do that. The other thing she also talked about is be intentional, especially with consistency. Social media is one that needs to see you all the time, so try and be as consistent as you can. In the event that you need to take a break, please do. The other thing she talked about that is very important for social media is good publicity. It speaks volumes. It takes a long time to build a social media brand, but it costs a second for it to go down the drain. So try as much as you can to avoid scandal and be very key when it comes to publicity. Aside from that, the bottom line is be hardworking, be consistent, find a niche that works for you, and be you. Thank you so much.
Niche, and avoid scandal. Hi, Olivia. Avoid scandal. Now, we don't have so much time, so I'll give just like 90 seconds for everyone up here to just give us that final takeaway, the thing that we shall remember you of today. Okay, something that all of us have to take back. Because so many of us, we realize that that's a very great side hustle. And we really, really want to tap into it. Everyone here has gotten a check from doing things they didn't study. And that was influencer. Tell your bachelor's in influencing and social science. No, nothing. So I want all of them to give us their parting shots. I'm sorry, I'm going to start with you so that I can speak last. Go.
Hello? Oh, it's working. Thank you so. But this one, the volume is low. But thank you so much, Uncle Mo. First of all, thank you so much to MCI and to the MV Talks for inviting me. It's truly an honor. My key takeaway to you is two. One, quantify the value you bring or the value that your brand attracts. Don't use the words, I feel, I think I'm the best, I know I'm the best, zemugaga nzemanyi. No. Make sure you can quantify the value your brand attracts. And that is quantifying it with action metrics and action numbers. That is one thing that will help you to build a good brand, but also know you can ask for money that is worth that brand, okay? The other thing is a brand profile. Takes time, but that is what speaks to your identity. And I told everyone that's their homework. They need to create their brand profile tonight, okay? Then build on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Profile, something that talks about you, then value. Don't those things. After everything I did for you, but when there was nothing really. So we go, please, value. That's what people are paying for. Danzi.
Okay, thank you very much for talking about profiles. I suffer with it at the park. Mine would be, don't get obsessed with being on all social media platforms. It'll be pretty cool, but no human being can do that. But make sure your content is available across all social media platforms. Because TikTok is taking over. If you are niched on Twitter and Instagram, you don't have to actively be there, but make sure that viral clip you're making once a week goes there. And remember, people don't trust brands. They trust you, the brand message drivers. So whoever is a journalist here or whatever capacity you're in, the community that is harboring you, that company, people don't trust it. They trust your messages first. Remember that always. Thank you.
You are the trusted part. Please remember that, and make sure you make your relevance around the social media platforms, but don't try to be everywhere.
Like the way your birthdays with your guys at Bandari is not the same way your birthdays with your uncle. Like your uncle can be like, who are you talking to when you speak like that? So you have to find a way to be relevant with all your social spaces differently. Yeah, I've picked that one. Thank you very much. Let's go, Patricia.
Thank you, Uncle Mo. Thank you, guys, for the brand guide, the social media platforms. Now the money part. The way you live with the money, you should also be able to give it. If you don't give money, no one is going to give you money. What do I mean by giving money? You can't do everything by yourself. You can't write your script, you can't shoot the videos, you can't put the music in, you can't edit, you can't be the whole jack of trades. So when you get the money, share the money, then the money will come in. And that adds value to your content. It adds value to the work that you do because you have a team that money is going in. Then when you bring a quotation and say, I need 10 million, we can see actually where your 10 million is going. That's the thing I want you to go out with.
There's a saying, yeah, share the money. Share the money shall come back to you. And remember, hey, when you pretend to pay people, they pretend to work for you. But then the other thing is, this guy is a producer of a show, but he was also the show. So is it the one you're talking about when you say, please give other people the roles? Because he's constantly hosted on his own show.
Maybe he doesn't have that money for the guest.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, at last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Natasha.
I would advise this, that when you decide to do this, make sure that you understand everything you sign. It's very important. If you don't seek law, because most of the time they will put something in that contract that doesn't agree with your ethics or your brand or anything, so just make sure you're always very careful with anything you sign for another brand. Yeah, that's what I would advise.
Where's my gentleman? Whatever the economy is doing to you, let other things come before the money. Understand what you're signing up, my guy. You've understood? Please, is it aligning with your ethics? Is it aligning with your principles? Can you even do it? I've seen people who have to do 30 posts a month. You're just really signing up to not be paid. Now, before I release the people up here, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the team leader at the MCI to come and close this for us. Ladies and gentlemen, Abbas. Big hand clap as the guy comes up here.
All right, please clap for our panelists. Clap for yourselves. Especially for yourselves more, eh? What can I add now? The experts said it all. But there's one thing I recently learned. It's transmedia, and I've been training some of the people here. So transmedia, especially for you who are journalists, building content across all platforms. So if you're doing one documentary, it can turn into content for a whole year, depending on how creative you are, and could be posted across. So from TikTok to Instagram to Twitter to Facebook to podcasts to memes to GIFs, whatever you want. So if there's anything that I would love you to go away with is go and research about something called transmedia. The whole, and for media houses, this is good for you. It's working for a lot of TV stations and media houses out of this country, and it's something that we want to begin training here. So we have some bites on the house. Please make sure you stay with us here and do some networking, especially our dear panelists. Most times panelists, they run away because they have gigs, especially influencers. They have the next gig is running, so if you could stay around, we want to take pictures and have fun with you. This day is highly sponsored by our internal radio station here called MCI Radio. So please download, and listen to Big Boy Shark. Hey, stand up. Listening to Big Boy Shark. Tracy over there. Who else? El Shaddai, Glory over there. So, and when you're out there, please also talk about us. I know your platforms are for for paying, but it's really a pleasure to have you here. When we started, these are platforms we wanted other people to have, other young people to go through, and being able to still create this sort of attraction from amazing people like you is for me an honor, and I sit back over there and really feel very touched. And I do hope that you continue coming for our events and learn, and not just come and sit here, but go home and really put this into practice, because that's the reason why you show up. Other than that, thank you so much. Let's have fun. Have a great day. Uncle Mo, are you saying any more? MCI production, please, take over. Thank you.
All right, just a big appreciation.
On a special note, the production team has asked me to highlight the new machines that we have. So, monster machines, so we might be entering music videos, no. But otherwise, next year, we are very much passionate about entering the content space aggressively. We already are there. We have Solutions Now Africa. If you're looking for stories around what is working in our country, please check these guys out. They're amazing. We have Debunk. They're working on fact-checking. We have Nalo. We have sign language. So my hope and dream is that we could get a license soon. All right. So pray and fast, He's fasting. So you can start today by not eating. Picture. Is the camera person? Panelist Olivia. Who are we? Panelist Olivia, please show up.
Anybody will won't fight you. When they come, they already know. I'll be right beside you, like the wall of Jericho. They don't know.
All right, as they do take the group pictures, if you have the evaluation forms, kindly hand them over to Mr. Dana Yebare. Yes?